Good afternoon. Good to see everyone. I hope everyone's had a great weekend. Coming off the win at South Dakota, a number of thoughts probably jump into my head right off the bat. I don't know where to begin, but I'm going to try to do the best I can. So I'm going to try to stay positive here first. When you have the ball for 40 minutes during the course of a game, generally comes out your way. And I thought offensively we did a good job converting a number of third downs. I think the only third downs we did not convert during the course of the game were some third and XLs and third and longs. We stayed out of those situations for the most part. A lot of third and shorts, a lot of third and mediums. I thought we ran the ball extremely hard. I thought we had a lot of yards after contact. You just go through the list of backs or receivers that carried the football. Zach Mathis had a big one, 17-yard gain on a hitch that he broke a tackle on. And then I thought special teams did a really good job as well. I thought from the snap to the hold to the kick, it was good to see some consistency out of that group. Still continuing to improve weekly, but we called upon them this week, and I thought they did a really good job. And then defensively, to be able to hold your opponent, I think it was 1 of 10, 1 of 11 on third down. That's probably uncommon in this day of age in college football. So for us to be able to get off the field like that was very positive. Now, the things moving forward that I think we can do a better job of course, is can't have penalties, can't have turnovers in the red zone. We're only 4 of 7 on touchdowns. We did score 6 of the 7 times we were down there, and thank goodness that Griffin and our specialists showed up and did a great job. Ball security. The last 2.5 minutes of the first half, probably something I've never experienced before, probably a lot of people have never experienced before. But like I tell our team, nobody went into that game with the anticipation of fumbling the football. Those things happen. I've never seen them happen that quickly like that. We need to do a better job defensively responding and limiting, especially explosive plays after a turnover. And just a couple other things is there's just still way too many penalties that are of the intolerable type. We had 2 personal fouls, and then, of course, we had the false start that was in the red zone that took it from 3rd and 5 to 3rd and 10. And, again, we talked about just a minute ago, I mentioned we didn't convert on any of our third and longs, but we were about 100% on third mediums during the game. And, it does come down to a game of inches, and those yards are critical. It probably knocked us out of field goal range as well at that time. So we got a lot of work to do ahead of us. We got a good Youngstown team coming in. Coach Phillips has done a really good job of you can see him overhauling and improving the roster yearly. I think offensively, Jaleel McLaughlin is an explosive back. I thought I heard that he's in the top 10 in the NCAA in total career rushing yardage. So I think they're the second leading rushing team in our league right now, which is impressive. They were able to run the ball against the SEC foe. They have a really good wide receiver in Bryce Oliver. Their quarterback, second-year starter. You can see that just the game is slowing down for him. He does a much better job going through his progression. Defensively, Jordan Trowers, Quincy Lenton, 2 DBs that lead their team in tackles and probably interceptions as well, 2 dynamic playmakers. And then a kid that stood out to me, Dylan, I'm going to probably butcher his name, but is it Woodkey? Defensive end, number 17, seems to be all over the place. They've defensively have 28 TFLs so far this year, I think, in only 3 games. And so impressive group. We're going to have a great week of practice, great preparation. We're going to have to get ready to get it cranked up again. Exciting thing is we're back in the Fargo Dome, and I know our kids are excited about that. It was posted this morning that the students have taken up all the tickets, and I know that's a positive. This will be 3 games in a row that our students here on campus have done an unbelievable job supporting this football program. So I thank you for that. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
Coach, how do you attack the penalty issue for you personally? Because, it's been a couple of games in a row now where that's been a sticking point after the game is the penalties, having to try to crack down on those. How do you approach that as a coach? Because it doesn't feel like something you can just practice away.
Well, you try to continue just to educate kids on making the good decisions. It's no different than probably raising a kid and trying to get them to follow directions. But we continually talk about it every day. We stress it at practice. We stress it this afternoon. We're going to watch 2 of the personal fouls. And there is no hiding from the camera. The eye in the sky doesn't lie. Everyone's going to be able to see who made those errors. And We have to clean it up. The ones that, the penalties on third down in the red zone, the false start. Again, those three things. We had 5 penalties, but 3 of them were, in my mind, intolerable or really, aided, South Dakota at the moment.
Your status.
He's not going to be available this week. Not going to be available this week. I haven't talked to the. He's still handling his business. I haven't seen him yet today.
Just how do you think Joe Stuffle then played this past weekend, and what may his role be moving forward?
Well, I think you'll see Joe, when we don't have Noah, will take over a lot of the same responsibilities that Noah had, playing our on-the-ball tight end position. You saw he did a great job, I thought, stepping up. Had a couple big catches for us, did a great job on the line of scrimmage. First game he's really started since being here on campus, and so excited where he's at. He knows that there's some things fundamentally that he has to continue to improve on. I could sit here and talk about pad level, getting that second step in the ground. Those are things that you're routinely talking to young guys about.
Does that affect Lipke's role? No, obviously he can play him all over the place. If Noah's out, might he be like a move tight end or move him in that capacity a little more? Or how?
Well, I think you saw a little bit of that on Saturday where Hunter Lipke played some of the off-the-ball tight end position. I think you have Logan Hofstedt who played a bunch of that position. Finn Diggins was in the game and played some. This is going to be a accelerated learning curve right now for a young man like Finn. But also, I think one of the young guys that we don't talk about, I think Hunter Brosio had an unbelievable game on Saturday from a fullback position, but also can play some of that wing / off the ball tight end U position.
Other room for like the transfer tight ends or any of the other young guys that are close?
Definitely. And again, when I didn't mention their name, Ross, I wasn't avoiding anyone. Carson Williams needs to continue to just grasp what we're doing offensively. What we do is moving fast right now. And again, we have a lot of verbiage in our offense, and you've been around long enough to know that some of our play calls can be 13, 14 words long. Guy like him, his play card might be a 3x5 index where we need Joe Stoffels to be a 8.5 by 11. He's just volume. But if we can find, especially at home games, when you have access to having everyone available, there are some guys like Carson, Finn, who need to continue to help us, fill some roles or do some things.
Was the thing with Noah out of left field because he played the game with Arizona the first 3 games?
A little bit. He had been something that he had been battling. Again, you go back to fall camp, intentionally trying to limit some reps because that surgically repaired ankle just wasn't doing as well as we thought, and still not doing as well as we thought. And I know it's frustrating for him and his family, especially when you come back for a 6th year. Every game counts. You don't get them back, and there's no guarantee for another one.
What adjustments did you and the staff make defensively that worked to slow down that Coyotes offense?
Are you referring just the whole game through? What? Well, I don't know if there's a whole lot of adjustments being made. We just need to get out of our own way. There was too many errors on our side of the football that contributed to them being successful. I think we did a couple things with empty because they were, if we emptied the box, they were wanting to run quarterback draw. I think we solidified that. I think there were some other things that, we adjusted, but we didn't redo the game plan. I don't know why you would redo the game plan when you weren't playing very well to begin. We couldn't execute the one that we worked on all week at that moment. But it was good to see our players respond to really a lackluster last 4 minutes of the second quarter is what it comes down to. We talk about starting fast, which I thought we did a pretty good job of on Saturday, especially offensively. I know we didn't finish with a score, but it was a 10-play drive, went about 70 yards, and 8 different people carried the football. That was a good drive. And of course, it didn't end like we want. We don't want to turn the ball over. We want to get points when we're in the red zone. Defensively, first drive they had, I think we were 5 plays and we were off the field. So we started fast. We want to be really good in the middle 8. Last 4 of the second quarter, the first 4 of the third. I think we did that in the third, and we want to have a shutout fourth quarter. Those are the things we routinely talk about. But getting back to your question, didn't change a lot. Just wanted to execute at a higher level and express that to them at halftime.
Viewing missed tackles as a specific issue this season that is worse than normal, and how difficult is that to rep when a lot of time in practice you're just going to a thud or you're not bringing guys to the ground every day in practice?
Right. I don't know if it's a bigger issue than in years past. I don't have those numbers in front of me. It's an issue right now, though, not one that we're ignoring by any means. But I'd agree with you. I think there's an issue. We're not running our feet on contact. It feels like we have too many guys trying to, saw people in half versus, tackling high and just running their feet and accelerate. Because if we can just slow people up, we'll get someone else there. We got to do a better. We've lost the cup a few times, especially on Saturday. All things that I think are correctable. In my opinion, tackling is a fundamental. And those are some things that we have to continue to work on, just like getting off blocks and just like sustaining blocks on offense.
And you want to ask Jensen, or will he be available?
He was walking around the locker room. I think it's day-to-day right now, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it'll be positive. I thought Gray Zabel did a really good job of stepping in. I thought, and I need to probably bring his name up, a guy who did a superb job was Westy. Westy's traditionally plays center. Grabbed his helmet, ran on the field before we could even do anything, and all of a sudden we're out there. He hadn't taken a guard rep since fall camp, but he goes back to all those double reps and those valuable reps. He talked about a young man who understands what we're doing offensively, can play center and guard. He proved his value to our football team this weekend.
What did he have before Zabel got the correct jersey on?
7. So I have not talked to Mason today. I'm sure I'll see him running around today at practice. Yep.
Is Crosa kind of taking a leg up, I guess, in the kicking job, or what did his performance?
At this moment, he has. Yep. He's the place kicking duties. And then, of course, Caden's still going to continue to do our punting. And then really, Will's done a pretty good job, a good job. He's pounded more through the end zone the last 2 games than probably what we saw all of last year. So still need more consistency as far as hitting our spots from a kicking standpoint.
I was going to say, anything specifically you liked from Griffin on Saturday? Obviously, he made them, but anything?
Well, the thing that I thought he was battling early in fall camp, which has continued to improve, was he was driving the ball versus getting any air lift on it. And it was, even on some short field goals in practice, 1-2, throw your hands, it looked like he was going to get blocked, and that was a concern. And so we've worked hard. He's worked hard to try to get some more air underneath it, get that thing up quicker, so we can eliminate some of that middle push, because that's what we're seeing right now.
Is there a range for Crosa, and then past that range, maybe you'd go to Will, or maybe you'd go for it?
Potentially. Will's probably a little bit better from longer distances. I think if we have the ball 20-yard line and in, I think I'm comfortable with Griffin. But I still need to see more consistency at practice. And that's what I base some decisions off of, just how have we done that week.
Marcus Johnson's going to the Hall of Fame. He was a 2-sport standout in the Division I early days. You don't see that anymore. Is that something that...
No, I think specialization has probably lent to that a little bit. I think you see fewer and fewer kids at the high school level playing multiple sports. I mean, I can speak from experience. I think my youngest son's probably one of the only, that play multiple sports seniors at Cheyenne High School. It just doesn't happen very often. One, because I think most sports, the demands are 365 days a year. And the minute you turn off one, it's hard to jump into another one and be successful. Not to say that you can't. I just think the wear and tear on the body, the preparation, all the things that we're doing from a physical standpoint is, I don't know if kids want to do that anymore.
Open to it still?
Oh, we've had some conversations. Certain sports I would be. Football, basketball would be, I think, extremely difficult just because of the 2 sports are backed up to one another. If we had some guys that wanted to run indoor track or participate in that sort of events, I wouldn't have any problems with that. A thrower or something, just because they could get a lot of the season done indoors and still practice football. I mean, you'd have to have some young men that were really good at balancing their time and prioritizing the things they have to do every day.
To ask about middle linebacker after you went back and looked at it. How did it grade out for what you saw from Wirtz and Kubitz on Saturday?
They both probably played their best game of the year. Probably not the answer you were looking for right now, but I apologize. We're going to stay with kind of what we're doing right now. They're both doing a really good job with the communication piece. That's always the the one caveat that you have is if there's a better communicator out there, because as you guys know, our Mike linebacker and our strong safety really have to be the two integral pieces of information. They get the information out to the other 9 guys. And so as long as they're doing a good job, both need to continue to tackle better. I'll put that on them. I'm going to tell it to them here at 3:30 when we have a team meeting. But as far as just the logistics of the game, they're both doing a really good job. The other piece that we have to take into account is both of them are high special teams players. And so by being able to platoon your Mike linebacker spot, we're probably able to get greater use out of them on the special teams.
It's just a strict rotation, or like Luke rundowns.
No, it's a kind of a play count, series count that we've gone to, trying to enable both of them to stay as fresh as we can.
I see, I mean, part of it could be situational, but Spencer Wagey was inside a few times. Is that something that he might see more of him in there, or is that just more still situational?
I think that was situational. If I remember correctly, that was more third down, probably high percentage of pass. Not that he can't play against the run, but just trying to get 3 defensive ends on the field that could pass rush.
Team, are they running away from him? Because he didn't have a stat last game.
I didn't get into it that deep. Spencer's a really good football player, and I anticipate, though, if he didn't have a play, I'm sure he influenced the play a time or two.
Quarterback, you see him more as developing. I know he's an elite run, Youngstown's quarterback. Yeah. I know he can run. Have you seen him develop with passing game?
I have. I think he's done a much better job of seeing that boundary safety. Now he has an unbelievable ex-receiver back over there, and I think those two have a great rapport. He sees that boundary safety getting off the hash, working the middle of the field. He's not afraid to work the X. I don't know if he was comfortable to do that as much as he did a year ago. Can buy time with his feet, extend plays, is a threat on the quarterback run game. They showed some of that against Duquesne and Dayton during the year. So his progression, he's ascended. He's gotten better.
Gauge their team when they've played a top 10 SEC team and then 2 teams that aren't fully funded scholarship football at FCS.
We just got to take it for what it's worth. We've played them before. It'd be different if we had never played this team, but having played them a year ago, having had some great contests with them, there's enough of our players who've seen this Youngstown State and the tradition. They play hard. They play really hard up front on the defensive line. They're well coached on the offensive line. They've only given up 9 TFLs. That's usually one of the things I go to immediately in the week. I want to know how many TFLs the team's given, because that tells me how well they're coached and how hard they play. And so it's going to be a good game. They've had a bye week, so I'm sure they're going to come in here fully healthy and ready to go.
The tackling, how big of a concern is that when you do have Crenshaw and McLaughlin, who are very shifty and seem to be
it doesn't matter. It's always a concern. When you're not tackling well, you could be, playing anybody. It could be Youngstown. It could be South Dakota. It can be Drake. If you're not tackling well, it's a concern in general.
Called back against NCA&T, and he made 2 other nice plays against USD. Do you guys need to find DJ Hart the football more, or get him on the field more?
Well, I think that's part of it. I thought he did a really good job. He went up and caught 2 contested balls this week that were really good. One on the comeback over on their sideline, which was a big-time catch, and then the one on our sideline. We're trying to find more ways. I think part of it is just how some games have unfolded. Probably, let's get into 4-minute mode and let's go. And so maybe we haven't targeted him as much. But, again, you saw this week he's done a really good job. He's made some big plays for us going all the way back to last year. We got to find ways to get him the football. He's a talented young man.